welcome back. So back to image sorter. Um, let's look at the requirements that we're building here. So this is the roadmap of the different features we're trying to build, and this is the part we're at the moment. Index a given directory so we know what's there. So anyone who hasn't seen any of the other videos, please go back to the start and um, follow along from the start. I think that's going to be the easiest way. But just a recap of where we're at, we're creating an image sorting application where we can deduplicate our image files so that we can back up all of our photos and make sure that we're not backing up the same file or that we might have stored in different directories all over the place. So to do that, we got to scan the given directory, hash each of the files, store that in a DB, and then we'll be able to know, okay, which files are unique and which files are the same. So we're getting very, very close where we set up the DB functionality last video. So let's bring up our let's bring up where we're at. So we've got this function here to recursively go through the directory and just print out the file path. But we kind of need to move database functionality into that function. So in the last video, we set up these database tables. So we've got our files table and our locations table. Let me bring up the model so we can take a look. Okay, so very, very simple model here. We have the files table and the locations table. And we've got all of this set up, but we're kind of faking it at the moment, especially with the hashes. So we go through here, create the two tables, and then we insert the values here, but we're faking all the hash and things like that. So here we're just creating this fake hash string and incrementing the ID and inputting it that way. So we kind of want to do this properly. We've got this function here to recursively go through the directory and grab all the file name and file path and so on. This is really where we want to do it because this is where we're hashing the file. So this is where we're going to get that string. So just some things to clean up. So create the database tables. So we've got this to do here to handle when a table already exists. Let's do that now. So create table if not exists, and then create table if not exists. So we're still removing that file. We're still deleting the database file each time we start up. We'll remove this, but for now, we can try out this if not exists functionality here. Let's merge this back into one SQL command because we don't need to do it twice, I don't think. Okay, so this one here, create SQL. And this one here, clean that up. So we're connecting to SQLite. We're creating these two tables. And then this is where we're starting to insert the data, but this is what we're going to move to the next function. Let's build first, make sure we haven't broken anything. So far, so good. And image sorter. Okay, so far, so good. All right. So yeah, that looks like it's all working. We have a select function, sorry, a select query that we're running as well, and that's what's being returned there. So this is good. Looks like we haven't broken anything. Let's check that the if already exists functionality is working as well, because then we can uh, get rid of this part here. So let's get rid of that. So now we're not deleting this database file every time. So build again. So we should, if we run it again, oh, constraint failed files.hash. Okay, yeah, that is the other problem. So because we're trying to re-import things with the same primary key, then it's going to complain about that. That's because we're faking the hash. So little bit of a downside to the way we're doing it. But let's see if we can work with that. So for now, we can delete the database manually. So image sorter .db and run it again. Okay, yeah. So um, yeah. So the we know that the create statement worked okay because it didn't give us an error there. So we know that this create table if not exists. We know that that part's working properly because it did get past that and it got down here to where it's trying to insert the files, but it's using this fake hash where there's going to be duplicates and that's going to fail our unique constraint. Okay, so we're starting to tidy this up. This is where we need to start moving stuff. So let's see, can we move this functionality here? Can we move this into this function here? So I think we should rename this function. So hash directory files hash directory files recursive. Okay, I mean maybe let's just keep it like that for now. But we'll update the description here. So iterate over entries in directory path, hash all the files we find there, save them to the database. Is this function doing too much? Maybe, but again, we can refactor that later. Let's just kind of get it working first. So begin DB transaction. Um, Start collecting. Oh, okay. This is where there might. I don't think we can't really start the transaction here because we're going to be calling this. We're going to be calling this function recursively, and I don't think we really want to do that. We don't want to set up the database stuff every time because it's going to get a little bit nuts. So I think what we can do is perhaps we can pass in these insert statements. So if we pass in these insert statements, then we can use those to execute adding those. So then if those insert statements are passed to the recursive function, then we can use them here. It's almost like we need to have this accessible outside of main. So I mean, can we do that in Go? Can we set some variables here and then use them in all of the functions? Or is the best practice to pass it in? I think let's like all things, let's get it working first, and then we can look at optimizing it later. So if you know a better way to do this, let me know in the comments, because then we can refactor it later and we can do it in a best practices kind of way. But for now, we just kind of need to get it working. So let's go back to, so we're going to have these two insert statements here. Let's get rid of these. So essentially we're going to grab this here. Add to files table. Yeah, so let's grab this one here. And in our recursive function, when we get to the point where we're going to print out the hash, so instead of printing that out, we want to save it to the database. So yeah, so let's remove that for now. And instead of printing out the hash, we want to save this to the database. Okay, so there are a couple of places where we're doing this. So okay, so we're going to need to have the hash string. Actually, yeah, hash string. So okay, so format printf and hasher sum. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're creating a string out of that hash that we get here from this hash function. So just to reiterate, if you haven't seen it already, go back to the video where we create these hashes here of the files. So we're using this hasher here, which is the SHA-256. We create a new hash, and then we pass in the bytes from the file, and hash it there. So Then we need to use this hasher sum function. And then that's how we can get the string of the hash. Now, I'm not entirely sure. Um, uh, I'm not entirely sure that this is going to work properly. So um, let's give it a test first, where we print everything out. So yeah, we'll test out just printing out the hash string. Um, Now we need to make sure that every variable we create is actually used. So okay, so we want to bring back this function here to go through and generate the hashes. Um, so once we're certain that we can print out these hashes as a string, then we can save it to the database. But I just need to make sure that we're doing that properly first. Okay, yeah, so this is where we need to make sure that all these variables are used. Okay, this looks like a typo here. Hash string. So that should be hash string. Where is that? Line 46. So hash string. That's just a typo. What else did we have? Undefined. Yeah, okay. And then undefined entries in line 107. That's right, because we deleted that. Okay. Um, okay, so let's continue to delete all of that. Um, these ones here, I kind of want to keep so that um we can copy these lines the um into the other function. However, where we might have a problem is if we're creating these insert statements and we're not actually using them. Um, and let's get rid of all of the read stuff. Um, in fact, we should probably just get rid of everything and redo it. Um, but maybe that's enough to. Whoops. 119. Non-declaration statement outside of function body. Right. So there's that there. You know what? This is getting messy. Let's just clean up everything and we'll rewrite it. Um, we can leave the table creation stuff, but when it comes to the inserts, let's just rewrite it in the function. Um, we'll just keep this nice and clean. So okay, so to make it clearer, what we're doing is we're taking the argument from the command line, which is the source directory. We're creating our connection to the DB. We're creating the tables if they don't exist already. and then we're recursively going through our given source directory. We're finding all of the files there. If it's a directory, we go a level deeper and call this same function again. So this is recursive. Otherwise, we're going to hash the file. And then this is kind of where we're up to. So we are not adding it to the database yet. That's okay. So let's see if we can get this hash as a string. And if we can, then we can look at getting it into the database. So, whoops, that doesn't look right. So does this need to be the, so I've changed this to %q, and maybe that will output it as the hex. Yeah, okay, so we've got these strings here. Okay. They don't look entirely right though, because we're getting some weird characters and stuff here. I mean, look at this. We're getting all kinds of strange things in here. So that might not be correct. Let's see. Let's see if we're using this correctly. So where was it? Okay, so we're using the SHA-256. So Golang SHA-256 hash to string. Okay. So we're at this point here. Oh, okay, sorry. Maybe Q is is the wrong one. Maybe X is what we want. So yeah, let's try that instead. I probably should have gone to the Go documentation for the sprint sprintf function. Okay, that's what we want. This is looking much better. So okay, this string here, this is the string of the hash, and this is what we're going to be saving in the database. So each one of these is a file. Okay, perfect. Okay, so okay, so now we need to get this into the database. So let's go back to our SQLite SQLite documentation here. So this is the SQLite 3 package from Matt N. And let's go back. There was a good example here. So simple.go. And this is what we were using this is what we were using to create our this is what we're using for our database transactions. So, okay, so we start with this, creating this TX for the DB begin, and go SQL. I do like to make sure that I'm understanding what's happening here as well. So, um, we can look at these. So here, DB begin begin starts a transaction. So I guess the question is how often do we want to do this? Do we want to do it every time? Every time we execute it. So I think we can set it up beforehand, and then it's just the execution that we want to have. Yeah, it's just the execution that we want to have here. I guess the other question is, can we insert into multiple tables at the same time? Let's see, SQL insert into multiple tables. Okay, so I guess not. We can do it in one transaction, but not one statement. Okay, so I think we want to set up the transaction right at the start, and then we want to execute multiple times depending on how many files we have. So let's see if we can set up, so outside of our main function, can we set up a variable here, var test string. Can we set that up there, and then test string equals hello, it works, and then format print line test string here, and then can we access the same test string in this function? So format, format print line and then test string. That's what we called it, right? Yes, test string. Okay, so we should see that multiple times. We should see it the first time here from the main function, and then multiple times in the other functions. Okay, didn't complain so far. Okay, hello, it works. So yeah, it looks like we can do it that way. Nice. Okay, that's good, because then we can set up our execute. We can set up our execute statements. Sorry, where are they? Yeah, these ones here. We can save these in a variable. Okay, so let's grab this, right? So we can start the transaction. Okay, so db, okay, sorry, tx error db begin. If error is not nil, log fatal error. Okay, and then I think we defer close, right? No, we don't. We do that only for the statements. Okay, cool. And then set up files table transaction. Sorry, not transaction. Okay, so just so we're using the same language, let's call it prepare. So this is where we grab so files statement error. Now, okay, this is where we need to know. So prepare creates a prepared statement for later queries and executions. Multiple queries or executions may be run concurrently from the return statement. So what type is this? This is a statement here. Okay, so can we create the variable file statement here as a kind of global variable? So files statement var locations statement. I'm hoping this will work. Let's see. So we're not using that anymore. Let's get rid of it. So that test string we're not using anymore. And then here, file statement so this is where we have our tx prepare. And insert into files. Hash. Values. There's just the one. Okay, so insert into files the hash there. If error is not nil, log fatal. And do we, okay, so we defer closing that as well. So defer files statement close. Okay, cool. All right, so then we also need to prepare the other statement to insert into our um, locations. So just to remind ourselves, we've got the files table and the locations table. So we need the statement to insert into locations as well. Insert into locations, hash, and what do we call it? File path values. And then there we have two. Okay. Error is not nil. Okay. Okay, so what I'm hoping is that we've um, previously defined these variables up the top here, and um, now we're storing those in there, so that we can make use of those inside of this function here. I'm not sure if it's going to work, so we're going to have to see. All right, undefined statement. Okay, yeah, this is what I was worried about. So does it know what this type is? Oops. Do we need to let it know that it's part of SQL? Nah, it doesn't really know that. Is it is it this that it doesn't like? Um, oh, okay, there we go. Of type. Okay, so we chuck it in front of the SQL part. I guess this is the brute force the Bruce the brute force method of learning. Just try everything until it works. Okay, it works. Okay. So, okay, do we start the do we start the do we start making use of it? Um, so let's see if we can do that. Let's just try adding the hash to the DB here. So this is where we're going to use our files statement. So files statement and execute. Okay, so it looks like, yeah, we should probably do the error handling as well. So we either get nothing or an error. Well, we get something, but we don't want to do anything with it. And then files statement is what I called it, right? File statement, execute, and that's kind of nice. We can just pass in the hash string. Let's get rid of this print there. Um, Okay, so we'll start. Actually, sorry. Yep, let's handle the errors too. Oops, log. All right. While we're here, let's just add the file path as well. So file path string, and think I think all we want is the we have okay, sorry, we have full file path already, so we don't need to create that. So locations statement, execute, and hash string, and full file path. Just checking that's what we called it. Yes, full file path. Okay. Great. Let's handle the error. Okay, so we're executing those. Let's just check. It was, yep, exec. Okay, great. Right, so now we need to commit the transaction, which we'll do back in the main function. So recursively hash files and add to DB. And then after this, we want to commit the transactions. So here we started the DB transaction, and here we want to commit. So TX, actually, what's that going to return? So, okay, so just returns an error, nothing else. Error, TX, commit. Do we need to pass anything in? Nope. And then we can handle if error is not nil. All right, commit the transaction, and then that's it. So, yeah, we probably should have left in the reading functionality that we deleted, because that would be nice to know that everything is actually getting added properly. So I probably shouldn't have deleted that. So read DB and print results. Okay, let's just run this though. We'll build it. Okay, line 50 and 56. 50. Okay. So these error variables exist already. Okay, build's okay, and then constraint failed. Files hash. Yes. Okay. We have this issue here. The unique constraint failed files hash. So the problem is that when we iterate over the files, we have duplicates. This is the whole problem that we're trying to solve with this application. But because our files here must be unique. It's trying to add the second one and failing. So we can instead change the statement a little bit. So I think we have insert or ignore. I think that will, yes. Okay, that seems to be, okay, that seems to be the way that we do it. So in this SQL statement, insert or ignore into files hash and then those values. All right. So um, uh, let's. I mean, what's next? So we kind of don't know. We think we're writing everything in there, but we kind of don't know. So we kind of need to um, we kind of need to print everything out. So read DB and print results. So um, let's go back to the example here. And this one here, we're creating a new statement. And this is where we're going to change this up. We'll put in our end statement, but then we're going to have to scan all the rows. So I kind of wish I didn't delete the previous code because that could have saved us a lot of time. And I haven't committed any of this to version control yet. So okay, so we're gonna have to do it again. Sorry about that. But let's. I know I said don't do this, but let's let's um mm, 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 mm. Ooh, yeah. Okay, let's just copy this and paste it in. So in a previous video, I said don't do this. I said type it all out manually because it'll help you learn. And I still believe in that. But this video is getting kind of long, and I want to move things along because we've been doing this for a while now. We've done this before, so um, let's see if we can start to move this along a little bit because yeah, we've been working on the database stuff for a while now. So let's paste this in here. So read DB and print results. So um, we want to select okay, let's bring up our reference here. We want to select everything, right? We want to get the files and the locations. So let's grab, actually, we only need to grab the hash once. So select files, hash, and um, locations. So file path is going to be let's check just thinking, let's select statement. Let's just write this here because it'll be a bit nicer, and then we can pass it in. So select let's stick with select star for now. Okay, so this is our select statement here. So we're going to select everything from files, joining locations. So it'll give us all of files, all of locations, where the files hash equals locations hash. And so we'll get all these rows, and then that's where we need to iterate through all the rows that we get back from this select statement. We need to store the variables in here, and then we can print them out. So, so, um, so, um, files hash locations hash and locations file path. Okay, so let's um, let's take a look here actually. Okay. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're doing. So we've got our select statement here. So select star from files, join locations on files.hash equals locations hash. So where the hashes are the same, we join the tables. Then we execute that select statement. So we run this query and we get these rows back. So then we need to iterate through all the rows, and we do that using the next function to go to each row that gets returned from the query. We're creating these variables here, these string variables, and then that's where we're going to store the values. So here, this is the pointer. So we're not passing through that variable, but we're passing through the pointer to it so that we can just update what that value is. We're grabbing the file hash, the location hash, and the location's file path. Then we're going to print those out to make sure that we can see them. Let's give this a build and make sure that we haven't broken anything. Undefined rows. Okay. So, um, where is that? So we are defining it here. We are defining it here, so I'm kind of confused where it's not finding it. Line 127. Oh, okay, sorry. It hasn't been defined before, so um, we need to use the colon as well. Okay, that's better. All right, let's run it. Moment of truth. Constraint failed. um. Okay. So yeah. Okay. It looks like we're gonna have to do the same for the file path. Because we're not deleting the database each time, then there's a chance that we'll index the exact same file. So where is our insert? So insert, I think we're gonna have to do this here as well. Insert or ignore. Okay, so that should work, but let's remove DB first of all, and just have a clean run with no pre-existing DB, and let's see how that goes. Syntax error. Okay. All right. Um, Whoops. Insert or ignore into locations. I mean, it'd be good to know which one of these is failing. Um, okay. This one is a typo. Uh, okay. That one's a typo. So hopefully that's the one. Sorry, let's remove the DB as well, just to keep it nice and clean. Um, cool. Didn't need to build it again, but just for completeness. Okay, nice. It looks like it's working, right? So here we are saving the hash into files, and then the hash and the full path into locations. Great. Okay, good, good, good. So now if we run it again, yes. Okay, so we run it again. It looks like it's not having any issues with ones that it's added previously. Um, cool. Okay, so I think we have it working. Um, Now we just kind of need a query um, to see what files are unique. So let's give that a go. Um, so let's modify this statement here. So we know this is working. So we don't want to output the whole contents of the database each time. That would be too much. I mean, maybe we can write to a log. Maybe we can write to a log, but sorry. Maybe we can write to a log, but we probably don't need to. It's too much. So here we can read DB and print results where there are duplicates. So now we just need to think about this query here. How do we only select the files that are duplicates? Okay, so so now we need to think about this statement here. So how do we select only the files that are duplicates? So let's just make this a little bit nicer to see. So here we can add a group by function. Um, so we can group by the files hash because this is the source of it, right? The files hash um, is the one thing that we want to return, and then we'll return every location where we see it. So here we can use the having um, uh, um, I guess what is it? It's um, uh, uh, locations. Sorry. So okay, sorry. Um, so we want to only output these files here if they have more than one of the file path here, right? So more than one location. So um, grab these files where there are multiple of these file paths. Um, so we'll grab a count of those. So we'll see, okay, for each of these files. So remember, we're grabbing everything from files and locations. But grab everything. We'll grab a count, like how many file paths are there, and if it's whoops, um, ah, sorry, location file path greater than one. So if this count, so we count up how many file paths there are. If there's more than one, that will give us our result here. Right, so we don't want anywhere there's less than one. We only want the duplicates. Let's see if that works. Okay, great. Cool. Okay, here we are. So, um, okay, so it's shown us this file here. So this hash here, it's noted that there are multiple locations for this, and then here's one of them. So let's, I mean, can we open this directly? Explorer. Okay, this file here, it's found multiple times. So that, I mean, that is correct. So here in the unsorted, we have 3 copies of it in different iterations. In here, there's the same file too. So it's correctly identified that, which is great. It's doing exactly what we want. There are no other duplicates as well. So it's working. This is not the greatest. It's only showing one of the locations. So it would be good to show all of them. But I think but then we have the problem of it's not going to, it's not going to be unique. Like we'll have multiple of these outputs. So this is okay for our debugging purposes. We know that it's working. But when it comes to presenting stuff to the user of like selecting, okay, which ones do you want to keep? That's where we're gonna have to do some work. So we can do a separate query to grab all of those locations for this hash. But this is the first step, identifying where we have duplicates. So I think let's end it there for this video. We have this working, which is great. Um, and then we can start looking at like how do we present this to the user? How do we make it so that they can identify all the locations, and then have a nice feature where they can select which ones they want to keep, which ones they want to delete. So we might have to think about that a bit more. But um, um, as far as this first functionality, this first piece of functionality here, um, we're kind of getting there. We're kind of getting there. In fact, we're even starting to get into this to print out records where there are multiple locations. So in a way, we've finished both of these parts here, and we just need a function to handle the duplicates. This we can make a bit nicer, but yeah, we're getting there. So thanks for following along. I hope you're enjoying this. If you are, please subscribe, because then you'll be able to see when I create a new video. It also shows me that you actually enjoy this and that it's useful. If it is, or if it isn't, leave a comment. Let me know what I can do better. If you have alternative ideas for ways we can do things, let me know as well. Yeah, thanks for coming along, and hopefully see you in the next video.